Hey guys, welcome back to Overtakes. This is Misfit.
And I'm Kel.
And we are doing our Week 4 power rankings post Week 3, where we had things stabilize out a little bit. Found out a little bit more about some teams that did not play a lot of matches and all that kind of good stuff. So we're going to dive into it. Let's go. So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up.
Yep.
And the bottom really doesn't change that much, does it?
Yeah, it really doesn't. Washington Justice, just once again, I mean, their schedule is brutal. They're not necessarily a horribly bad team, but they're playing really good teams, and
they're not on their level.
They're just not on their level, and it's not going to get any better throughout this stage.
And honestly, San Francisco, they set that record on, was that Numbani?
Yeah.
It was Numbani. They literally just rode the cart all the way through.
Yeah.
There were 2 team fights in the whole thing. To take the point, and then literally right outside the spawn door on... I mean, we've all been there.
Right.
I mean, everyone's been on Numbani, and you're just getting absolutely murdered, but you're not a pro.
Right.
And
you're not getting paid. You're not at the level that these guys are at. So, yeah.
But there's all of the things that make up a bad team.
Yeah.
There's no coordination. The skill level is not on the level of the other teams, and wacky strats. You know, like trying wacky strats. And Wizard Hyung has his work cut out for him with this roster. Let's just put it that way.
He really does. They need to make some mid-season additions or something, because there's a lot of holes on this roster. And
that being said, some people are not playing terribly. Like, Guido was playing better than I actually thought he would. Mm-hmm. Is he playing great? No. But it's one of those, the sum of the parts are so bad that you can't figure out who's really good or bad. It was like trying to pick out the positives for Shanghai last year, where you're going, okay, well, you know, Undead and Deer are kind of good, but the rest of them are
doing okay.
Addo's doing...
You can say the same yeah, exactly.
Addo's doing okay. It sounds familiar for him. Do you think he's just like... do they have agents? I talk to my fucking agent. What the hell, man?
No kidding. Good lord. Poor guy. Well, so let's move on to number 19.
Yeah, let's.
We've got the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, MEI-hem. Can we fucking stop with that already?
I mean, I will say, in their game against Guangzhou, they didn't look terrible.
It kind of worked.
Yeah.
Kind of. They can't play a control map or an assault map to save their life.
They really can't. But they play really well on any kind of escort map, and that's on offense and defense on both of those. Those things. Like, they are very locked down on those.
But the thing is now everyone knows when Tavik comes in, you're getting May.
Yeah.
And the problem with May is, as opposed to playing Brig in this comp, I mean, I like seeing different heroes, and he actually made it fun, because you're like, oh, wow, May. And, you know, he was doing different things with her, and you're not used to seeing that. The problem is the ultimate.
Yeah.
What do you do with it in GOATs? Do you know what I mean? There's no... If you're running like something with DPS, like you can follow it up with a Dragon Blade or, you know...
Yeah, you can cut those
Death
guys.
Blossom.
You can cut them down pretty quickly.
Right, you know, you got
but there's just not enough quick damage that you can knock down all of those tanks with it. And
you're saving your Diva Bomb for a Grav.
Right.
So you don't want to use it in that. But that being said, the May walls he was really good with those. Mm-hmm. But
honestly, probably the best use of it, and it's not really even that good, is like if you get a good freeze, then you pop. Like, you basically have to pair it with 2 other alts to really get the full effect of it.
Yeah.
Either that or zone somebody out. Like, that's really the only two options you have with that ult.
And to be brutally honest, he was brutalizing Mumo with that.
Yeah, he was.
With the wall. Which, once again... And yep. I'm sick of people doubting my tank knowledge. This week I've had a lot of things where people are not believing me. I said Fusions is a great tank, and he played better than Fissure. People did not believe that. Mm-hmm. I said Muma's mediocre, and I said Mono is the tank Fissure wants to be. And really Golden Boy actually said pretty much the same thing, but he didn't single out Fissure. He said he's the tank everyone wants to be. Mm-hmm. But anyway, back to the mayhem and not me getting angry, my angry social media bullshit. Yeah. But other than that, the May fun. Someone said, and it was on one of the guys, I think on, it might have been one of the Overwatch League Network podcasts. They quoted a tweet from, I think it was Avast, and one of the players. Why is it always the bad teams think they can break the meta with off meta heroes?
Right.
And here we are.
Yeah, and speaking of that, that leads us right into number 18, the Chengdu Hunters.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just let Wrecking Ball roll around and take care of the rest of the team first, and you're done. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I do think Chengdu has a possibility of moving up when we get this new patch.
A lot of teams are going to
stage 2. But then that's the thing is all these other but then all these other teams.
We had that conversation.
Yeah, like it's they're going to be better, but it's not going to be enough. But
it's not going to be enough to take care of teams like right now, like the Gladiators. If you run a triple DPS with Surefour, Decay, and Hydration, on the heroes they play and like to play,
Roar on Wrecking Ball or whatever other tank, like
we'll get into Roar later. There's another one that people called me out on. That look at the stats.
Right, but
I'm not saying he's bad either.
Yeah, but going back to Chengdu, like they just, I mean,
they're fun to watch.
Yeah, they really are. They only played one game this week.
Yeah,
but they got mashed by Shanghai.
Yeah, and Shanghai knew what they were going to do. And
Chengdu got a few points here and there, and they made it interesting. Like, it wasn't like a complete and utter stomp by Shanghai, because like Chengdu got some points, and there was a little back and forth here and there, but like you never really felt like Shanghai wasn't in control.
Yeah. It was kind of they had to deal with the weirdness, and I think they kind of knew, we're probably going to lose a point here and there. We can't focus too much on losing points, and maybe even like in a control losing one map or one portion of a map. We just have to focus on doing what we do and stopping them, not focusing on what they're doing.
Right.
If that makes any sense at all.
No, I'm right there with you. And then, just
do your job.
Yeah. Right. And that's really what Shanghai did, and they did a great job with that.
They did.
But yeah, I mean, Chengdu just they have the potential to be better later on, but just right now, like their inability to run goats, just they are bad. Straight up, they're just not good.
Well, and to their defense, at least they admit it. And they just are like, fuck this, we can't do that, so we're trying something weird.
Right.
Not like these other teams like, we're going to run goats, and we got supports playing Zarya and other shit, and hooray!
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much where they're at. Now let's move on to number 17.
Speaking of supports playing Zarya.
Oh, God. This team is so frustrating. They should be so much better than they are, but they're just, this is not their meta at all.
Yeah.
Their inability to play goats really hurts them.
Well, and their schedule, Valiant.
Their schedule has been brutal.
The Valiant, by the way. But if you're a good team, the schedule kind of doesn't matter, because if you honestly think about it, San Francisco and Vancouver are running the same schedule as them.
Pretty much, yeah.
But if you can't run goats, and it's not that Kareev is terrible on Zarya.
No.
Although, today, I don't know,
he was not
fucking
good.
Hotba was like just eating grabs.
Oh my god. Hotba was on fire eating those grabs.
Well, and I made the comment, I was like, does Kareev know that, that D-Matrix is on a 2-second cooldown?
Right.
Because he was just like tossing him out there. I was like, oh, come on, dude.
Right. Just another one eaten? Come on. Yeah. It was...
Yeah, they're just in disarray. And I'm going to say this, and Valiant fans are going to get mad. They're not as good as I think we thought and everyone thought they are if you look at them really hard. Mm-hmm. Fate's great. Space is great.
Izayaki is good in some spaces.
Izayaki's a fragger.
Yeah. Yes.
But Kessa's not great on Lucio, and obviously Kuki is mediocre.
Right, and he's still trying to learn.
And honestly, their DPS are not great.
Yeah, Agilities has not been great. Space has been probably the most disappointing aspect of this team, because we were going in thinking he was going to be able to keep up what he was doing last year, and he's just not been able to replicate that.
He's basically a feeder.
Yeah.
Right now. I mean,
and then that's hurting Fate, and like Fate is just, he's dying first so many times, but it's definitely not entirely his fault.
No,
because when he gets the proper support, he really makes big plays. But he's just not getting the support that he needs to make the plays that he's capable of.
And we're seeing a lot of these guys that were fantastic in dive having problems. And,
exactly.
Some of it's resource management, too. Mm-hmm. Where, Izayaki's great on Zen. But the thing is like, in this meta, Fate needs more resources than... You need the damage, but do you see where I'm going?
Yeah.
You need the fragging from the Zenyatta because you don't have a lot of damage going on. But you have to keep your Reinhardt alive.
Right. And when you're like... You have 3 healers, but you're all 3 relatively low healing output. And you're you have very little, burst healing.
Yeah, and the only one that really has big burst potential is Brig.
But she's got the 6-second cooldown on that.
Yeah.
And then, Lucio kind of does as well with his...
yeah.
But then
your
you
Lucio's
don't always
more...
have that because he's going to be using his speed boost for that as well.
Your Lucio's basically disposable after he speed boosts everyone in and you move your tanks and everyone into position. If he dies, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
But your Zen is the Harmony Orb, the Discord Orb... And the damage output is huge.
It is. And
you have to do all 3.
Right.
Because even if you look at some of these guys, his numbers are insane, fragging out. Mm-hmm. But even if you look I texted you those numbers from Jonak today.
Stupid.
He had 10,000 healing and 4,000 damage. Usually it's flipped around.
Right.
But in this meta, you need the 10,000 healing and the 4,000 damage.
Exactly.
And they're just not getting that. And Agilities is not... Overwatch League has become Simon Cowell sitting down in American Idol going, this is not the song choice for you.
Right. Really, exactly.
This is not the meta for you, Agilities. Or Surefour. Or Bird Ring.
Speaking of teams who are not ready for the meta, let's move on to number 16. We got Houston.
It's our meta. They buffed Junkrat. Oh,
they don't have.
It's not stage 2 yet, is it?
I'm still waiting for whatever meta Houston is in, because every single meta, that's what I've heard. Oh, this is their meta. This is what they're best at. Here they go. They're gonna run the table.
Their best meta is when
They play bad teams.
Well,
that's simply it. Their
all right,
best
I'm going to
meta
defend.
is when they play bad teams.
I'm going to defend Houston for 2 seconds here.
Okay.
Their best meta is when you have a stable Junkrat kind of damage and all that shit, and you can run Widow. Yeah. So on those maps like Anubis, and you can bunker comp and have Junkrat and Widow just wreaking havoc. They're great at that.
Yeah.
But if you get into a straight dive meta or like this goats meta and the double sniper meta, they're okay with that, but they weren't great. They need Jake to be Jake Rat.
Yeah. If he can't be Jake Rat, then they're nothing. And
that being said, he's been playing pretty good though. He's
been playing okay. I don't know. I'm so frustrated. I'm so annoyed with this team. Like,
hey, they beat Florida.
I'm just sick of hearing about oh, they're so much better than they're playing. Like, well, prove it to me, because they have yet to do so. Because even then, like,
they kind of rolled Florida, but they didn't.
They did, but they didn't.
Like I said last week, Buffalo and Jacksonville playing.
Basically, right.
Yeah, part 2.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah,
maybe we'll go this year's Arizona Cardinals playing the Giants.
Right. Oh, God. Yeah.
Oh, wow. The Giants are doing weird shit. Oh, that's Florida.
Exactly.
Oh, wait. They could be the Dolphins. The Mayhem. They're pretty much the same thing.
You know what? Houston is the Dolphins. Like, they give you flashes where you think, ooh, this could be a playoff team. And
I like the way they look.
And they look like garbage.
I'm not going to count the New York game, though.
Garbage.
I will not.
I mean, you can't, because New York is so good.
After watching Ivan Drago today, I must play. Ridiculous. Basically, told this idol he's going to kill him every chance he gets. Anyway, anyway,
let's move on to number 15.
Yeah.
We've got the Shanghai Dragons.
Yes. 2-game winning streak. All right.
Okay.
Lost to Dallas. And weirdly, a rematch next week.
Right.
That was the worst C9 ever, by the way.
Oh, God, that was so bad.
That was worse than Toronto's today.
Yeah, that was just like, you weren't even being pressured or anything. Like, it was just a complete brain fart.
You forgot about the cart.
And it's like, and it doesn't even necessarily mean they would have won or anything, but it's just like, you got to be able to move it farther than that. And it's just
you blew your chance to prove anything at all.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, you're playing Dallas. Who knows what's going to happen?
Right. And then as soon as that happened, Dallas just pounced and they just crushed on Nepal.
Yeah, well, what I think happened, too, was Shanghai got, you get, like, dejected, I guess. It was like, fuck, we just let it slip through.
Yep. And then,
Dallas and it snowballed into a...
Right, and that just put Dallas in a better position and all that. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. They
look better. 2-game winning streak for Shanghai. I think they can rebound next week. I find it weird that there's 20 teams and we have a repeat back-to-back game. So goes the Overwatch League schedule.
No kidding.
Yeah,
they've got a shot.
Yeah, they do. And
overall this week, they looked a lot better, especially against Chengdu.
They looked like a team. Even when they were playing Dallas, there was like cohesion. There's plays going on. There's
obvious research that they're doing into the other teams. Like, they are ready for things that the other teams are going to do, and that's just something we never saw from them last year. So it is refreshing to see, and it's nice to see that this is a new team.
Yeah,
and we can finally move on from that. They had their 2-game winning streak. Like all of that.
Yeah.
So good for them. I'm happy for Shanghai.
So
Let's move on to number 14. We have a team that has probably the biggest slide of this week.
Yeah.
And that is the LA Gladiators.
Yeah. But they just don't have it. Going back to Simon Cowell.
Right.
This is not your meta, is it?
I don't know if it's not their meta. I don't know if it's their coaching. I still have to question why.
It's a shot calling.
Yeah, like, is it? Yeah, they're shot calling.
Fisher was their shot caller last year.
They're putting bad. Yeah, they're making bad decisions, and I don't understand. I still don't understand why Hydration is playing Brigida. And like, I get taking Surefour off of Zarya and putting him and putting Decay on Zarya,
because Decay's really good on Zarya.
Yeah, he was a really good Zarya.
Well, it's also it's fresh in his play schedule. Because he played in Contenders when Goats was going on and shit.
Right.
You know, Hydration, but is Surefour going to be getting better on Brigida?
I don't know, but I feel like they have to give it a shot.
I'm also gonna.
They need to do something.
I'm also gonna throw something out there from watching. I know I've been slamming on Roar. This goes back to the resource management. So I love Big Goose and Shaz as supports. They don't give Roar enough support, in my opinion. They just spend too much time on the Zarya, like make sure the Zarya's alive, which you need the Zarya to be alive, okay, and each other and trying to frag and whatever. It's like, I think Roar is used to playing a controlled style of Goats where the Rhine gets the resources. Right,
and like everyone is just following the Rhine. Like everyone just focuses whatever the Rhine is going after.
Yeah, and
that's what he's used to, and they are not doing that, and it just is a jumbled mess.
Because they're a dive team. Mm-hmm. You know, a dive or whatever meta that's not like the Goats meta, Deathball meta, whatever you want to call this that's going on now, because there's so many variations.
Right. And I think also with them, especially going back to like Big Goose, I don't think he's not playing Lucio correctly for this meta. He's playing Lucio.
Solo queue.
Yeah, he's solo queue, but also like the way that they were playing Lucio when Ana first came out, when they would roll Ana, Lucio, that's the type that he is playing. Where you're hopping between the walls, you're just getting around, you're trying to displace people.
Which is necessary on some maps in this, really.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's not doing enough to stay with the team. And then there's times where he's getting picked and it's getting bad, or he's just like not there when somebody needs a big
boost heal or something like that.
From his E or to get moved out of the way. Like, it's just, he's an incredibly good Lucio, but it's just not the right type of Lucio right now.
Once again, the meta does not fit them.
No,
that's why they're this low, because they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, at this point, like, they have proven that they're not ready for this meta, and they're not ready to be a top tier team.
And no, not until the meta shifts. Which I mean, we haven't talked about the patch notes and all that stuff, but
right. Well, we'll probably do a show about that sometime this week. But
or we'll do it in the in between to get everybody ready. Well, you know, right now it doesn't matter. I mean,
yeah, it's not even live.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's not live.
Right, but yeah, with the Gladiators, it's just super frustrating. Let's move on to number 13. We've got the Seoul Dynasty. Which this is a team that had potential to move up again, but they didn't do enough in my eyes this week. Obviously, they lost both of their games, so that's not going to help them. But
no, it's not.
They looked completely disheveled against Boston.
They did. I think everyone underestimates the power of Boston.
They do.
Well, the management and the coaching of Boston.
Right.
Seoul looked good against New York, though. Even though they lost the way they did, 3-1, that hold on to Bonnie, that was the Seoul that I was thinking was going to come into the league this year.
Exactly.
They just nutted up and they played well, but the whole thing is we were talking, we were trying to figure out a team. They have a trifecta of great players. You have Fisher, you have Fleta, and you have Rouge Hong. It's like the Lakers when they had Steve Nash.
Actually, you know what? Even more so, because that only lasted a year, and this reminds me more so of the Knicks from when they got Carmelo Anthony. Originally.
Yeah.
That's what this team reminds me of. They have all this talent, and they look so good at times.
On paper, yeah.
And on paper, you're like, this team is unbeatable. And then you see them play, and they're just a mess. They're not managing their ults properly. Yeah. They're not coordinating in general. Like, there's no game plan. There's no set way of, like, okay, this is how we're going to go, and this is how we play as a team. Like, they just are not able to execute that.
Like, as much as I love Rouge Hong, his ults on against Boston, you could almost say cost them the match. He blew at least 3 or 4 mistimed ults, and then he transcendenced on 66 when there was 2 people up for no reason.
Right.
And if they had that, and granted they might not have won, but if they had transcendence going into that fight, there would have been time on the clock. They could have pushed it farther, to build a time bank and all that. But it's just frustrating watching them.
It really is. It's incredibly frustrating.
And I hope they get it together, but it does not seem they will, even with Fisher there. And he got fucking owned by Fusions.
Yeah.
And if you don't think he did, watch the fucking match again. Oh, and by the way, guess who
I gotta watch the tapes. You got a Hugh Jackson in it.
Yeah.
Gotta go watch the tapes.
Yeah. Watch the tapes. Except for
I gotta go check the tapes.
I'm not insane like him.
Right.
I'm a different kind of crazy. I'm not that crazy. Get the fuck out of my office.
If I get out of this team, though.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what we did wrong. I gotta watch the tape.
Yeah. They're Jeff Fisher's coaching them right now.
Yeah, because they're right at mediocrity. They're not bottom dwellers.
They can beat the bad teams.
And having one of the worst coaching records in all of football, or all of professional sports. Yeah. I should say.
He's living on 1 year and the Music City Miracle. Yeah. Don't forget that one.
Right.
Was that the same year? No, that was a different year. They lost to the Patriots that year. Yeah. Okay, so that's just redundant in professional football for the last 20 years.
So, Soul Dynasty at 13. Let's move on to number 12. A slight uptick for this team, but really about where they were last week.
Yeah,
and
they're hovering in the same area. Dallas Fuel.
They moved up
better this week
from where we had them last week.
Yeah. Well, and it was like what we talked about. Mm-hmm. So they had one match, they prepared for one match, and they looked really good. And they played AKM pretty much the whole match.
Right, but the one thing, I'm hesitant to say that they looked really good.
I said they looked pretty good.
Did
I say really good?
You did.
Oh, fuck.
But I would say they looked good to okay. They did enough to win, but I still don't have much confidence in this team.
I don't either. It's one of those things. I look at the coaches and I'm like, you guys can make this work. Come on.
Right. Because
the guys are like, RCK is fantastic.
Yeah, RCK is great. AKM is great.
With those two guys in there consistently, they're great.
Mm-hmm. I think they're having the biggest questions that they have are I would say Unko looked probably the best he's looked for Dallas yet. He's been consistently pretty solid.
He's not like a guy that's gonna wow you with stats,
but he's also not gonna lose you a game.
Exactly. He's somewhere in the Kyle Orton quarterback land,
Right.
Trent Dilfer.
Yeah.
Can win a Super Bowl.
I'd say Matt Hasselbeck.
Yeah. He's not going to turn the ball over.
Right.
Oh, no, then he's not Matt Hasselbeck.
Oh, yeah, true.
We're going to take the ball and score. Pick 6.
Right.
Anyway.
And it's not even to say that like Closer has been terrible either. He's been kind of.
I think he's looked pretty good actually.
He's been pretty good to decent. I think their biggest issues on it is definitely consistency in switching back and forth with AKM in effect. They were much better about that in this game.
Yeah. I think so too.
Honestly, one of their biggest issues has been OGE.
Yeah, and I think it's going to the with Roar resources. Yeah. And
his
over-aggressiveness sometimes kind of comes back to bite him.
Yes, and that was the biggest thing that really impressed me from Shanghai is they took his over-aggressiveness and used it against him.
Oh, yeah.
Time and time again. And that was very impressive to me. And
some of the smart teams are starting to do that. Mm-hmm. They know who the over-aggressive main tanks are.
Exactly.
Fissure. Fissure. Roar. Bumper doesn't count because he's over-aggressive and the rest of the team is so ungodly amazing at this meta that it doesn't matter. But
exactly. Because you can punish Bumper all you want. He's just going to punish you right back.
Yeah. And the rest of the team is like, oh, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah. Hey, you killed my tank. I'm going to kill you now. You killed our tank. Well, we're going to wipe your whole team.
Even like on our adopted team, Yakpung, he's a little over-aggressive. He gets punished once in a while.
Absolutely.
But then you piss off Envy and he comes in and he does something.
I would also throw a little bit of blame towards Zachary. I still am not sure why he is getting as much playing time as he is because he has done very little, if anything, to wow me and be like, whoa, this guy's got to keep playing.
Well, you got to look at it. Effect can't play Brigida right. He's way too aggressive. And I don't think Taimu it's not the song choice for Taimu. Mm-hmm. It's really not. It's like the last resort. I mean, you could play Mickey, but he can't flex on anything else. So except for Diva. And you're not going to take RCK off Diva.
No, definitely not.
You're kind of stuck with Zachary.
Yeah. It's just frustrating to watch this team because they could be so much better than they are.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Once again, we'll see what happens with this meta.
Yep.
There will be a meta shift. There's really no if in that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So let's move on to number 11. And here we have
a big
Boston
jumper.
Uprising. Yeah. They've jumped up quite a few spots.
Even though they lost, they proved that, they beat Seoul.
But even though they lost to Toronto today, just how good they looked against Seoul really impressed me.
And they didn't look terrible. Well, they kind of did at points.
Yeah, there were definitely times where where they did not look good against Toronto, but I almost credit that more to Toronto.
Toronto's a hyper-aggressive team where they're running a comp, but you don't know where they're coming from. Right. They're kind of they're that weird blitzing defense team that you don't know where it's coming from this time. Today it's Ivy. Next week it's Envy or Yakpung or there's just. And Boston's very controlled. Yeah, I think with Toronto, their way of playing reminds me of the way the Ravens have been playing defense the past couple seasons. In that they're showing these really weird packages, and then you have no idea who's going to blitz, who's going to drop into coverage. Yeah. It's just all over the place, and it just confuses the hell out of everybody except for Baker Mayfield, and he tore them apart. Yeah. That would make New York Baker Mayfield. Yeah, right. Anyway, back to Boston. Okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah. I'll take that comparison all day. For today. Yes. It's fucking crazy, man.
Hey, I can be excited about my quarterback. I haven't been able to do that pretty much my entire life. So
Joe Flacco. I'm excited about Joe Flacco.
There you go. You got him.
Just as much as I'm excited about a glass of milk. Anyway.
But yeah, Boston looked really good this week, even in their loss.
It amazes me, though, that you take these guys and you're like, well, and Note's amazing. Yeah. Can we say Note's amazing, for Christ's sake?
Right?
I know finally some of these, like the casters are like, you don't understand how good Note is. Well, after watching, countless matches, it's like, yeah, Note is amazing.
Yeah.
Playing D.Va.
My roommate actually watched this game, the game between Boston and Seoul, and one of the things that he pointed out, he was just like, dude, the synergy that Fusions, Note, and Kelix have
are ridiculous.
Insane. Like, those guys just were on top of it, and they looked excellent. I think one of the biggest weaknesses Boston has right now is probably Color Hex.
Yeah, he was okay. It's so hard to say with these Zarya players, because you have some guys that are great. I don't think he's bad. No. I think it's the synergy with the rest of the team. Mm-hmm. Once they get that down, the meta's going to be over. But how much what I'm mostly impressed with this team is, like, you look at their roster and you're just like, okay, but they are getting the most out of everybody on this roster that they can possibly get. And that's what's, like, just really amazing.
Continues to show through.
Really, because
it's incredible.
They did not have an easy schedule.
No.
It's not one of those schedules where they were stuck playing all of the garbage teams. I mean, they have a couple in there, but the way they work together is just amazing.
Yeah.
It's really amazing to watch, because you think they work almost skill level. They're not like on New York XL, NYXL, or Vancouver skill level, like mechanical and all the stuff. Mm-hmm. But as far as cohesion and communication, they're almost beyond them. Yeah. And you can tell when they're playing. They know what to do. It's just sometimes they get outplayed.
Right.
They make very few bad plays. Like, in fact, going back to Note, one of the guys, who was I think it was Mr. X, or whoever was doing the game today, or the Toronto Boston game, he actually faked a D.Va bomb on Anubis.
Yeah, that's insane.
That is IQ 9000, man. So he just took his boosters and shot straight up, and everybody got off the point, because, I mean, you see the D.Va Mac going straight up in the air, and you're in the middle of a fray, like, especially in this meta when there's all kinds of shit going on in your face. Mm-hmm. You're like, D.Va Mac, I'm out. You don't realize it's not glowing, and you didn't hear nerf this, but but no, I mean, at that point, you just, it was genius. I just loved it. And I thought it was great.
An incredible D.Va player.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Let's move on. All right, guys. So that is going to do it for the power rankings. Thanks a lot for joining us. Feel free to hit a like, subscribe on YouTube, rate us on iTunes, and on that note, later, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later.
Catch you guys on the next one. Later.